Okay, so let's talk about Kiss Kiss Bang Bang. This is one of those that's going to be in the vein of a Christmas film that is only a Christmas film because it takes place on Christmas, like I was saying in my first review about Die Hard and such films as that. Except this one is not one that gets nearly as talked about or nearly as praised as Die Hard, of course. But it's one of those films that takes place during a 4-day period during Christmas time in Los Angeles and follows a story between this guy named Harry, who's played by Robert Downey Jr., and this woman named Harmony, played by Michelle Monaghan, who I definitely recognize by face. I've seen her in a ton of stuff. She's extremely gorgeous, but had to look up her name. So, also Val Kilmer is in here. He's absolutely hilarious. He plays one of my favorite characters in the film. And basically, in the core of the film is basically a murder mystery. It starts off at this party, and Robert Downey Jr. is narrating the whole thing. One thing about this film I really liked is that it does the whole like fourth wall breaking and stuff, and follows kind of that trope. It really felt to me like a Guy Ritchie film, American style, the kind of film that is kind of self-aware, especially with the witty humor and the witty banter. I love the narration. I thought it was hilarious. The whole "can I say more" at the beginning was great. And it starts off with, you're at this party, you're at this Christmas party in Los Angeles, and Robert Downey Jr. is narrating how he got there and how Harmony got there and how they met up, because they used to know each other in high school and they lost touch for 10, 20 years, however the time length is. And then they randomly reconnected, and they basically get themselves tied up in this whole murder mystery because two people end up dead, one of them being Harmony's sister, and then one of them being the daughter of the guy who was hosting the party in the first place, who is named Veronica Dexter, which is, hey, that's my name. Dexter, I mean. And Harlan Dexter was hosting the party, and there's a whole, ties and mysteries going on that I'm not going to get into for spoiler reasons, but there's twists that happen with the two murders. There's one scene in particular where one of the girls who were murdered is actually brought into Harry's apartment, played by Robert Downey Jr., and they all get entangled into this crazy mess, and it's absolutely hilarious to see. But when it comes to like the fourth wall breaking and the narration, there's a lot of scenes that will kind of stop and pause, and then will like flash back to a point back in time to kind of catch the audience up where what's happening in the present moment, and they do a really funny job with that. There's a way, the way that actually Robert Downey Jr. ends up being an actor, ending up in L.A. is kind of funny, just because his actual job is robbing stores, so he ends up landing in LA and being an actor, and the way they write that and direct it is really funny. The deaths are really random, like when it comes to the murders and stuff. There's something involving, which they play up on a lot, involving Harry, played by Robert Downey Jr., losing his finger. And they play it so well, and they play it constantly, and they do so many hilarious things with it that are so, not really over the top, but, well, they are over the top, but the hilarity in it, because you'd think it'd be repetitive, but it's absolutely not, because they just focus on that so much, that little thing, while all this other chaos is going on around the characters. They focus on that little, him missing a finger thing and where it goes and everything. So funny. And then, the murder mystery plays off. Some random person ends up solving it, and then that creates a whole other slew of problems, because then they, the person who solves it, they don't want them to go, exposing it and all that. But it's a hilarious film. I don't know. I'm going to keep the review spoiler free, obviously, but to anybody who's seen it, everything I'm saying, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Gay Perry is so funny. I love the way his dialogue is written. It's absolutely hilarious. It had me howling the whole time. And it's just a really well directed film. It's very self aware that it is a film, like the way it's narrated and the way Harry or Robert Downey Jr. narrates the whole thing, as if he's creating the film himself. That's what I meant about the fourth wall breaking. Great acting, great cast, amazing cast, and it's a complicated story and there's a lot of twists in it, but it's a lot of fun, and those are always good because they always add to the rewatch value. So this is one that you can throw on, yearly, or especially because it takes place during the holidays. And you have sorry, I forget her name one more time, Michelle Monaghan, because so many actors I recognize by face but not by name. You have her walking around in this sexy little Santa costume. So good. Really adds to the Christmas touch for this film as well. But I loved it. It was great, and I really enjoyed this one. This was one of the best I've seen in these 12 days. So I'll be back with more reviews. Subscribe to Morgan Film Fan if you like listening to my voice or if you like my film reviews. And I will be back soon. Take care. Have a happy new year, and talk to you later. Cheers.